We're going to begin the September 29th meeting of the Fall River Traffic Board. Prior to the meeting, I'm going to read the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and deemed acknowledged and permissible. First thing, Madam Secretary, can you do roll call, please?
Sure. Helen Rigo,
Here.
Natalie Mello,
Here.
Sergeant Dolan,
Here.
and Officer Tom Faris.
Officer Farris is absent today. Okay, first on the agenda is citizen input.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Michelle Dion, 5 Byron Street, Fall River, Mass. I'm here to first address Bay Street issues. A couple of months ago, I had sent a letter to the traffic board requesting a traffic study and the potential for stop signs to be put up on Bay Street. That came as a result of a citizen sending an email to the city council concerned and upset about speed, car accidents, etc. on Bay Street. So that's what prompted me to send the letter. Over the years, many more homes have been built. There's a greater amount of traffic. There are more people living on Bay Street. It's a 2-mile stretch from Mount Hope Avenue to Middle Street. Pretty much, except for a couple of curves, it's very easy for people to exceed the speed limit. And for some reason, there's one curve that people seem to have a great deal of trouble negotiating, that I believe there are more accidents there than there are on other areas of Bay Street. Because this woman sent this email, that's why I felt it necessary to send the letter to the traffic board. We have a street, South Main Street runs parallel to Bay. There's 5 sets of lights on South Main Street on the same 2-mile stretch, but on Bay Street, there's nothing. So basically, I wanted to bring that back up again. I did write a resolution in City Council that's going to be going to Public Works and Transportation to take up this issue there as well. I think it's fair just to let you know that. And I hope that we can resurrect it and come to some amicable agreement and to help the neighbors. And I know there is an individual here who lives on Bay Street that also wants to speak on the subject. So with that, I'll just end on that for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes?
So pretty much she already said everything, like, we own one of the new construction house that is right on that dark curb zone. We've been living there for like 4 months, and every month it's been a car crash right in front of our house. Like the last one, it was this Saturday, actually it was Sunday, 2 o'clock in the morning. The electricity pole, it went down, so it got on fire. And all our yard was kind of like, because everybody was in there, like the car crash was like right in front of our house. So we want to see if they can put like a stop sign for these people to slow down, or, I mean, it's a school zone right there. I don't understand why this is happening. The speed limit is 20 over there, and it's between Chase Street and Bay Street, that curve over there. So we're trying to see if they can do anything about it, because it's kind of scary, we living there.
I think that I'm her husband, Wilfredo Rivera. I'm sorry about that. So I think, I don't know if it can put speed bumps or like a stop sign right in Chase Street right there, because it's that curve is in Bay Street. In every pole I see lights, but in that curve I don't see no lights. It's two pole, but they don't have no lights. So it's really dark there. So it's scary every time. It's
I mean, it's been 4 months that we're there, and we already have 4 car crashes right in front of our house.
It's been more, but they're able to turn the car on and keep going. So those the police didn't come, but it's been more accidents.
There's no street lights there?
And not the street lights there,
I've
right?
actually been there for 42 years. No one knows that corner. My house is actually, I wouldn't say it's the problem, but it's the corner that everybody has to turn around. It's my house. You know, it's my property. But we've always had accidents down there. It's inevitable. I've rescued people in the woods. We've done it. I've noticed though, we used to have about one a year. I mean, you know, now it seems like since July 4th, we've had 2 a month.
Yeah.
We had 2 in July, 2 in August, 2 in September, and weather hasn't been a problem because it's been dry, it's been wet. It's been during the day, it's been at night.
Yeah.
I think, not even to make a big bill about it, but I think just as a few simple fixes like painted lines on the road, street lights on that curve, there's no street lights that are really good, and stop signs. I've been in contact with Council Chris Peckham also, and I caught video footage today of 5 cars flying by the crosswalk, whereas the school zone wouldn't even let a mother cross to get her kid. They're just flying by. It's a free-for-all on Bay Street. It's been like that for years.
Yeah.
And I know because my corner, the city had to purchase some of it to make the corner, some of my property. So it's becoming more of a problem now for some reason. I think maybe because the activity, even though the school's been there for a while, just recently, I don't know. Maybe it's just the lighting. I think when people are approaching, coming from like Gold Medal Bakery, the houses are right on them, so they don't know, should I turn right or left or nothing. There's nothing saying, well, you have to stop, then enter into the elbow.
The turn, yeah.
And even after you go in the elbow, the Bay Street goes downhill. So cars coming up, they can't see around my house to the traffic coming this way. It's just both sides it's a mess on both sides. And that's not Bay Street going down. I don't know what other problems they've had.
All right, anybody else here for Bay Street?
So I live on Foot Street, which is like near Rivera School, and my daughter attends Cost Middle School. She walks every morning to school because we're right up the street. When the accident happened on Saturday, the power went out, unfortunately, and there was no power from like 2 o'clock in the
For 6
morning
hours,
until like 8. Unfortunately, the home that I purchased is a 2-family home. The second floor, the heater is electric heater in every room. If that would have happened during winter time, my family and I would have been screwed, to be honest. Because how are we gonna heat ourselves if the electricity was gonna be cut off again because of somebody was driving too fast there? So every morning she walks to school, and if the Coast Guard is not there because he's taking off earlier than the usual time, she needs to cross by herself. So if a car is passing by, the Coast Guard is not there, and there's nothing telling them to stop or a stop sign or anything, she's crossing by herself.
What intersection does she cross?
She has to cross,
So right, my address is 655 Bay Street. So my house is right on the corner of Globe Mills Avenue and Bay, where the old Duro finishing used to be. That's kind of being done, something's being done with that. I don't know.
so right there, that's what
Okay.
she crosses every morning. I work in New Bedford. I work in the New Bedford Crisis Center, so unfortunately, I have to be out to drive myself, so she gets in earlier than my other 2 children. So she walks in the morning. She does have a cell phone, but God forbid something happens, how she's gonna reach me and let me know something happened before she arrived to school. So that's also a concern, not only for her, but also to all the kids that are walking in the morning to get to school on time.
I'll speak to the crossing guard and ask him to stay a little bit longer for the kids that are walking in or a little later. So I'll ask that. So hopefully from now on, he'll stay a little longer to assist those kids that are walking. Thank you.
All right, any other input for Bay Street? Okay, because I read that same letter. It was an email, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you've noticed we had the speed trailer there.
Then
We had it there over the summer. We've got it back there further down now, near Gold Medal Bakery.
I drove by it the other day. There was a big Ryder truck blocking it. Yep. Like it's not, it wasn't detecting. when I went by Gold
Okay.
Meadow, there was a truck obstructing, a big box truck obstructing it.
Yeah, it's there today.
So, you
Is it
know,
there today too?
That's when you pick up the phone and say, hey, can somebody do something about this truck?
I wish the thrift store was still open.
Okay, but that speed trailer, aside from telling people whether they're speeding or not, it is doing a study. It's doing a traffic study while it's out there. Getting me the average speed, the volume of cars, and all those things. It is a great deterrent for speeding. We've used it in a lot of other areas in the city. On top of that speed trailer, we've got some solar-powered speed limit signs on order that show you the speed limit, and then it shows you how fast you're going. Basically what that speed trailer is doing. That will be permanently affixed in various areas in the city. I think that would be a big plus here, too. I know Bay and Chase has always been terrible. We can look into lighting in the area there, like they're saying, if we don't, I mean, LED
I can
lights
talk to
nowadays, too.
Tammy.
Yeah, one of them broke off with the accident, because that pole is always being hit, so it just keeps smashing off.
So
But I've counted 3 poles right on the corner where they could go right in front of your house.
We can
Like
look
I
into
said,
lighting
just
in the
like
area.
Maybe, I know they're doing construction and they're digging up the roads for the new houses and everything, but when that corner comes up on you at night and there's no lines showing you which direction the road is going, nobody knows.
We
especially
can
if
also
they're out
check
of
on
town.
striping, making
My
sure that
gut-
it's all
Yeah.
up to date.
My guys are gonna be doing the double yellow on Bay, so that's coming up,
Okay.
hopefully. The
Okay.
weather's been, every time we take out the machine, it starts raining.
And what about curve ahead signage somewhere there?
Signage.
That could
Well,
work, too.
the other thing that I've seen in other cities and towns, and we could try it here, I have seen signs where it says caution, heavy residential area. So, I mean, it might do something. I mean, I saw them, so I read them. So that's something we could put where the new homes are going up. We could put signs so that way when cars are traveling, they know that there's children, there's new homes, and it's heavy populated. We could try that. We could try to see what the speed limit is throughout Bay, if we need to put up any more. So this way, if a cruiser goes down there and catches someone, at least the speed limit is posted. I mean, it's not gonna be like every 5 miles, but there'll be a good distance where there'll be 2 signs on each side saying 25 miles per hour. So, I'll have my guys check that out tomorrow.
And,
What is the
what
speed
about a sign
limit
for
down
the
there? Is
curve?
it
25
30?
No,
30.
no,
It's 30.
well, it's 25 now,
25.
yeah,
The sign is still up saying. 30.
right.
Until the signs need to be replaced, we leave the 30s up there.
Right, so what happened was, back in 2019, the governor did change the speed limit in residential areas to 25, but he did not mandate for us to take all the signs down, because a lot of cities and towns were like, that's a tremendous amount. So, like the sergeant just said, so when we get complaints like that, we'll go down there and we'll change the signs from 30 to 25. So I'll have my guy go down there tomorrow and check all of those speed limit signs,
And again,
okay?
it's like you say, there aren't an abundance of signs, but there are still.
We'll add more.
All right, excellent.
And I think the curve ahead sign, we just need to see if we can find a spot to put it.
Well, in their location, it would have to be almost next to, what is it, Mike's Auto
Right
Body?
before my house, so I'm 655 and 657 Bay, it's the white house around the corner. So it would, right where the blue, maybe the bottom of Chase, right before that.
Yes.
And then, coming up from the north end of Bay, from Mike's Auto Body uphill. Now, they're
Where they
coming up-
makes
they're
that
gonna
turn on
have-
Globe
Makes
Mills.
that turn, right. So
Now-
right before maybe the bus stop or
So we
something.
could do curb ahead.
That's
On
the
curve.
good news. I mean, we're working on improvements there.
Oh, it's awesome.
Some of the suggestions, though, I'll say the speed bumps, you can't put speed bumps in New England because
No.
the snow plows
Right.
will get broken and then the speed bumps will get broken. We can't do speed bumps there. And we've had a lot of neighbors in all different neighborhoods asking for stop signs to slow the cars down. And I've read it at a couple of meetings, stop signs actually don't work. There's been studies by some fantastic universities, stop signs make the motorists go faster in between the stop signs. Not saying I agree that they should do that, but people resent a lot of stop signs and they accelerate quickly in between the stop signs. So all the studies have shown that they're ineffective in slowing cars down. And sometimes they even create more of a dangerous area because a pedestrian may say, oh, good, there's a stop sign here, I can cross. and they get hit by the car.
even though the school is right there.
Now, the school, a note I took too, we're just gonna make sure the school zone lighting is proper.
That's there, that's all set.
That 20-mile-an-hour speed limit is only
Daytime.
when the lights are on. During the, so it's not 20 miles per hour
All day.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
And there's a sign underneath that has the times. The other thing that we can do, and I know that there is, all the side streets off of Bay should all have stop signs. So we'll check on that tomorrow, but I think they do, because they don't. All right, well, that's another thing we can check, because like Sergeant Dolan is saying, Bay Street is considered your main thoroughway. And you put stop signs on all the side streets, so that as you're approaching it, you're supposed to stop, look both ways, and then make your turns. So we'll check that as well, and if there's any that do not have stop signs, we'll bring it here to the traffic board and make sure it goes into ordinance.
And that's not to say at one time that they didn't all have stop signs, but, over the years, things happen and you don't
They're in
always
somebody's
pay
garage.
attention, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's
Well,
gone away from you.
we'll check the ordinance first, so if there is a side street that should have a stop sign and it's in ordinance and it doesn't, those are easy. We'll just put up the pole and the sign, but if it's not in ordinance, then we'll have it come through here.
Yes,
They can put like some kind of barrier in the turns, like a,
the Jersey barriers.
The only thing you
I mean,
want on the driveways from
I- I'm-
the houses.
yeah, I know, they have
Like,
driveways,
cut in between
but
it.
like maybe between, but those cars at night, they go by flying. And I in the go metal trucks, I see them
Oh, yeah.
flying, I see
Well, one
them,
of these days, it's gonna end up in my living room.
Oh,
I
God.
mean,
That's how scary it's over there right now.
yeah.
But it's not just Goldman, it's gas trucks. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
got them all
Those would be
on
good, I
camera.
think.
It's all
But it's gotta be in front of somebody's
dump
property,
trucks
they're gonna
and-
not want it.
The other, what Sergeant Dolan is saying, as a matter of fact, we put some on Rickenbacker Road.
By this
Is
car.
at nighttime. So there's these arrow signs that they actually
That'd be a
glow
good
in the
idea.
nighttime.
That would be good.
So that when, the only thing is, it's gonna go either on the sidewalk or on someone's property if you don't have a sidewalk. So they're not very big, but they're a good size.
And-
They're lower.
Not to eliminate that it's speeding, but like my thing was it's a visual thing. I really think
You're
it's just
right.
a perception of how the road is approaching,
Well,
especially at night. whether
Lighting,
they're
reflective
speeding or-
signs, that,
Right, exactly.
that should
Like
make a
something
big
to say
difference.
turn, there's a turn coming.
And we can
Yeah,
put,
yeah.
we can put these down at the bottom of Chase on both sides, and then up there on Globe. I don't have them in stock, because I only order them as I need them, so just give me a little bit for me to order them. Once they come in, they don't have to go through ordinance or anything, they'll go right up. My guys have done it in Riggenbach Road, so and it does reflect at nighttime, okay?
And the lights.
okay, is there any other citizen input?
And the lights you were saying?
Yeah, the lights, lights.
Yeah, we are gonna look
Oh,
into
the tra-
streetlights.
city lights.
Right. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that'll be with Tammy. I'll give Tammy a call.
There's other citizen input, but not for Bay Street, is that?
Somebody else has
Are you
citizen?
just asking for Bay Street, or?
Nope. Next on the agenda, any other citizen input?
Okay. I'm gonna give you the one from my neighbor, because I don't wanna read them both. I gave one to her.
Yeah, she's got it.
She made copies,
Oh, this is for Atlantic Boulevard.
Yeah.
That's gonna be at the end.
oh.
That's on the
That's
agenda.
on the
This is for
agenda.
people that don't have something on the agenda.
Yeah, this is if you
Oh,
have
okay.
concerns with
Okay, you
traffic
can
or
have that
parking.
anyway.
Yep, that's fine.
I don't wanna read those.
Okay.
I'll just read me.
Okay, nothing else? Regular citizen input. Next on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from the August 18th Traffic Board meeting. I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Ellen, second. Anyone opposed to that? Madam Clerk, can you take roll call, please?
Motion to approve the August meeting. Helen Rigo,
Yes.
Natalie Mello,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. Next is curb cuts. There are none this month. So we move on to the request for handicap spaces.
Are you missing one? Oh, yeah. No.
The first request is for a handicap space at 38 Peck Street. 38 Peck. Okay, they're not present. I make a motion that we table that one. Anyone opposed to tabling 38 Peck Street? Madam Clerk, can you take roll call, please?
Tabling 38 Peck Street for no one in attendance. Helen Rego,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. 38 Peck Street will be tabled. Next on the agenda is a request for a handicap parking space at 129 Swindle Street. Okay, they're present in the back. I went by, their application's in order. They do not have a driveway or off-street parking available to them. I make a motion that we approve the handicap parking space at 129 Swindell's. Anyone second that motion?
Second.
Natalie seconds it. Anyone opposed? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Approval of handicap spot for 129 Swindell's. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes. Okay, your handicap parking space is approved. Do you you speak English?
Yes, I just have a question. Every time he park, someone park close to his handicap space, and then he have a hard time to park it. But he requested to draw a line. It's better for him to park it.
A larger spot?
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah,
evaluate the length, right?
Yeah, it's usually 20 feet.
Yeah, because someone park close to his spot, and then he try to back it up and
Yeah.
will go.
When they guys go and measure it, I'll make them aware of that, okay?
All right, thank you.
Now, listen, everybody here that has a handicapped application, there's a couple of caveats. If you get a handicap, if you're approved for a handicap parking spot in your neighborhood, and you come out and you see another car parked in that spot, if that car has a handicap placard on it, they're not violating the law. The police department gets a lot of calls that, there's a car in my handicap spot. It's a little bit of a loophole that somebody else can park in your handicap spot. I know somebody's applying, like Ogil's Restaurant is applying today. If a neighbor parks there and has a legitimate handicap placard, they're not violating any law there. So, just so you know that. If somebody finds an available handicap spot in a neighborhood and they have a placard, it doesn't happen very often, but they're able to park there, okay? And you can explain the time frame.
Sure. So all the applications that are here at the traffic board, the ones that become approved, what'll happen is the maintenance crew will go down to each location and do the measurements. We need those measurements in turn to send it down to city council, which then approves it, refers it to ordinance. So the process can be anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks before you see the signs up. Okay?
Okay? So you're all set, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda is 853 Eastern Avenue, up there in the back. Same thing, no off-street parking available, no driveway. I make a motion that we approve 853 Eastern Avenue.
Second.
Helen seconds. Anyone opposed to that? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Approval of 853 Eastern Avenue for a handicap spot. Natalie?
Yes.
Helen?
Yes.
Sergeant?
Yes. Okay, you're approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next is 33 Quikasham Street. 33 Quikasham, Bishop Eat Apartments. Nope. Okay, I make a motion that this be tabled because they're not present.
Second.
Helen seconds it. Anyone opposed to tabling it? Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Tabling 33 Quikasham Street for no attendance. Helen?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
And Sergeant.
Yes. 33 Quikasham is tabled. Next is 52 Fountain Street. Right there in the back. Same again, no off-street parking available, no driveway. I make a motion that we approve the handicap parking for 52 Fountain Street.
For a man? It's a man, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
It's a man?
Jose Andrade.
But I'm representing him.
All right, so I made the motion that we approve 52 Fountain Street. Anyone care to second it?
Second.
Anyone opposed? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Approval of 52 Fountain Street for a handicap spot. Natalie,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes. Okay, your spot's been approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. "259 Harrison Street." In the corner there. I'm on a roll, same thing, no off-street parking available, no driveway. I make a motion that we approve 259 Harrison.
Second.
It's been seconded, anyone opposed to it? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Approval for a handicap spot at 259 Harrison Street. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes. Okay, you're approved. All set. You're welcome. 469 Osborne Street. 469 Osborne. Okay, I make a motion that 469 Osborne be tabled for not attending.
Second.
Helen seconds that motion. Anyone opposed to tabling 469 Osborne Street? Madam Secretary, can you do roll call, please?
Tabling 469 Osborne Street for no attendance at the meeting. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes, table it. 469 Osborne is tabled. Next is 7 Smith Street. Smith. No?
Great.
Okay, I make a motion that 7 Smith Street be tabled for non-attendance. Anyone care to second that?
Second.
Natalie seconds. Anyone opposed to tabling that? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
7 Smith Street, tabling it for no attendance at the meeting. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. 7 Smith Street is tabled. Next is Ogil's Restaurant at 915 County Street, over here. Read the application. I know your off-street parking is a block away, so it kind of defeats handicap parking spaces there. So, and I know how that neighborhood is. I do I'm making a motion that we allow a handicap parking space for Ogil's Restaurant on County Street.
Second.
Helen seconds. Anyone opposed to that? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
915 County Street for a handicap space. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes. All set, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next are previously tabled handicap parking requests. The first one is 233 Sunset Hill.
Nope.
Nope.
We-
Make a motion that that be
Denied.
denied because they haven't attended for 2 meetings. Anyone second that?
Second.
Anyone opposed to denying 233 Sunset Hill? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Roll call for 233 Sunset Hill for not attending the meeting the second time, to deny it. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. 233 Sunset Hill is denied. Next from a tabled meeting is 19 North Court Street. Nobody wants to come to our party today. Okay, this is its second time. They're not in attendance. I make a motion that this also be denied for non-attendance. Anyone care to second that motion?
Second.
Anyone opposed to it? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
19 North Court Street, to deny due to not showing for a second time. Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. Okay, now on to miscellaneous requests. And the first one is a letter regarding making Reed Street a one-way near President Avenue?
Yes.
Present here, sir? All right, I'll read the letter here. I'm writing this letter to have you look into having Reed Street from President Avenue to Pierce Street changed from a two-way street to a one-way street due to the safety conditions resulting from the school traffic that result with drop-off and pickup of students. The street is too small for all the traffic to exit from the schoolyard and street to exit to President Avenue because of cars turning onto Reed Street from President Avenue, only to be met with 10 or more cars coming at you, and you have nowhere to go. So you have to try to back up into the oncoming traffic from President Avenue, which is not safe to do. Plus the cars that are parked right up to the corner make it so you have to back up onto President Avenue. Not to mention the cars coming out of the schoolyard don't even give you a chance to get down the street. If this was to be a one-way from President Avenue to Pierce Street, it would allow at least someone coming from President Avenue to safely get onto Reed Street to continue on without any safety issues. Also, if the school would change the entrance and exit ways so the cars could exit onto Stetson Street, which is wider and could handle the two-way traffic for the school. If someone from your department could see how this traffic is working when school is being dropped off and being let out, they could see the problem that exists.
There's an email from the principal as well. Let's read it to you.
Aren't they adjusting the parking in that area? I think
No.
they're adjusting.
Yeah, excuse me. I gave it to you with your agenda. I swear. Oh, right here. There you go. That's from Mr. Flanagan, who's the,
You just did this, that now.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the only thing I'd like to do on this is to have the opportunity to watch the traffic when it's exiting. We just got the agenda, so I didn't have an opportunity to yet, but I'd like to at least table this for one meeting so that I can get out there and watch the traffic when school comes and goes. So it would be one more month, at least, until we meet again, so that I could come up with my finding.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing we can do, since we're gonna table it, you know, whatever findings, I mean, I know I've seen the traffic there. We've gone there several times. But if that's the case, once you see it, I recommend that we could invite the residents as well, because we're gonna have to invite them at one point anyway. But I figured for the next meeting, we could invite the residents, and that way, if we're gonna make it a one-way, then they're already gonna be here and we can have a discussion, instead of
Sounds good.
tabling it again, you know, for another meeting.
That's fine.
All right, so I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting, so I have an opportunity to look at traffic, and that we can invite residents on Reed and President Avenue area.
Second.
Anyone opposed to tabling it for one meeting? Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Tabling the Reed Street issue, Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes. Okay, so you're gonna send out the letters again,
Yes.
including
Yes.
the petitioners?
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Next is 786 Northeastern Avenue,
So,
there in the corner,
yeah,
sir?
so we got an email from Bill Kenny, who is our city planner, with the issue of cars that are traveling on Eastern Avenue heading south, and cars that are coming out of Bedard, because there's a slight hill there, the visibility is really bad. There is a no parking sign there already. It's 20 feet from the corner. My guys went and measured it. I'm asking the board to move that sign up another 40 feet. So that way, when the cars come out of Bedard, they can already start seeing the cars that are like coming down the hill, versus not being able to see it now and kind of edging.
Bullock?
Bedard.
I thought Bedard was on Eastern Avenue.
Right, where Bedard is off of Eastern Avenue. So as the vehicles come out from Bedard onto Eastern Avenue, it's next to the church that burned down.
All right, I mean, that's Eastern Avenue.
Yeah,
Right, but Bedard, so the no parking here corner is on Eastern Avenue at Bedard.
I'm looking at a different letter, I think, Laura.
yeah.
Yeah, it's this one right here. This is, I gave it to you with the agenda. It was on the agenda, and this is the letter that goes with the request on the agenda.
No. These are two completely separate topics. This is 786 Northeastern Avenue, about speeding both ways.
No, yeah, that's another issue.
Okay, that's,
This one here is the no, yeah, if you look at
that's on the agenda.
Yeah, but if you look at the agenda. Oh, she didn't
No,
put
it's
this
not.
one, she didn't put the Bedard.
Yeah, the Bedard's on that, where you gave
Oh,
us.
it's on this one that the new agenda that I gave you, sorry. Right there. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're gonna,
This one right here.
okay,
This
that's the
one right
third
here.
one. That's the fourth one.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so
I'm sorry.
I was right.
I didn't even realize there was two.
let's just say I was right.
I'm sorry.
You were right.
Again,
Sergeant Dolan,
786
you were right.
Northeastern Avenue. Gentleman's over there in the corner. Concerns with speeding between Locus and New Boston Road. The letter from the resident. Let me paraphrase this letter. This area of Northeastern Avenue currently has a 40 mile per hour speed limit, but most drivers regularly and customarily travel in excess of the posted speed limit. The resident is mentioning sensors that would be in the area of Hiram and Bullock Street when automobiles are detected traveling at an excessive speed. It would trigger a stoplight signal, forcing the automobiles to come to a stop. Presented the letter to the Traffic Commission. So, sir, I'm sure you've seen the speed trailer that we've had up there measuring speed. Last Thursday, we had a big enforcement up there. Did you see the police officers up there too? We're also working on the problem of speeding in that area. The same signs that we mentioned for Bay Street, we're looking to secure to put those on Eastern Avenue. A triggered stoplight, I've never heard of it.
It's a system that they use all over the Europe and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. It's something that's been used in other parts.
All right.
It works. Either
But-
that or a radar, you know.
Well, that's, the officers have been up there enforcing the speed limit up there.
Only thing is they do it temporarily, but that doesn't solve the problem.
Well,
This is
the problem is, we've got over 240 miles of roads in Fall River, and I only have 3 officers working for me in the traffic unit.
That's why that doesn't solve the problem, putting a police officer there.
So the other solution that we have are those signs, they're radar signs that detect the speed the cars are going and flash their speed so that, they can be cognizant of how fast they're going. But a triggered stoplight, I don't know, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, and you can't, because unfortunately, Eastern Avenue is part of Route 6. Something like that, you can't. Like I said, it's part of Route 6, so the state would have to be involved. And they wouldn't allow it because, again, like we mentioned before, that's a main thoroughway. All the side streets have stop signs. I know there's parts of Eastern Avenue that you can do 40, because of it being part of Route 6. That's why,
But what the problem is, these cars are racing, speed racing on Northeastern Avenue.
I don't deny it.
Every of the week.
I don't deny it, sir.
At speeds of 80, 85, 90 miles an hour. I mean, this is unbelievable.
we were up there enforcing as quickly as we can. We've got Northeastern Avenue, Eastern Avenue, Plymouth Avenue, Bay Street. I mean, we're getting up there, we're enforcing the speed limit. I'm hoping that those solar-powered speed limit signs will be of some assistance. I've had my speed trailer up there.
And you've had others too, but I have a question. On the lights, the stop and go lights that we have to stop at, could there be a time change on those lights where they're not rushing from New Boston Road to hurry up and try to get through that green light on both sides?
Are you saying like at Locust?
Yes, you got the one on
Between
New
Locus
Boston
and New
Road,
Boston Road.
and you got the one on
Well,
Locust.
we could have our signal man check the timing
Maybe
of
they
those,
can
'cause they're
somehow
usually
switch that
timed-
time?
They're actually usually timed so that if you do the speed limit, you get
Oh.
green lights in between, believe it or not.
Because I think, you're rushing from the red light, you got the green light, all of a sudden you're rushing because you want to get that green light up ahead at Locust. And maybe, I was talking to the quarries, and maybe they can get some kind of like, other kind of signage. Because it really is bad. I don't know, the other day I witnessed a gas truck going pretty fast, and a UPS truck.
Am I allowed to make a comment?
Laura?
Come on.
Usually it's done at citizen input. It's up to the sergeant.
Is this regarding
Yes.
Disregarding this issue.
Northeastern Avenue? Sure.
Yes, Sergeant. First of all, I respect everything that the police department is trying to do to mitigate the issue. But as the gentleman described, it is really, it's very, very dangerous. It also carries with it, that stretch of road is a police and ambulance route and a fire route. So, we're getting sirens all day, but that's fair. What isn't fair are the loud motorcycles revving with the extremely high revs, high-pitched revs, and the loud muffled cars that are really not, and no exaggeration, drag racing between that stretch from New Boston Road to Locust Street, because it's an unmitigated stretch of roadway. They can truly open their vehicles up, and they do with frequency. And it's very disturbing when you're just in your yard and you have to deal with that, or you're in your house and you have to deal with that. And I respect everything the police are doing. I look forward to the new signage that will be going up. And I was just wondering if there's any chance for cameras to detect the avenue at all. I don't know if that's part of the technology we have or anything like that.
Have
It's
you
just
been watching the news with Providence, Rhode Island, and their cameras?
I have not, Sergeant, no.
I can say nothing's crossed my desk regarding cameras. That's a, yeah, but
That'd be a little bit of
that's a
money for the
Pandora's
city.
box.
Yeah, I just know it's another way to monitor the
Yeah.
real speeds there and
Nothing has come to the police department requesting that we
yeah.
do that.
I was just questioning that, but I do respect all of
Providence
the
has done
efforts
it.
to mitigate it, but it truly is a dangerous nuisance. It's an extremely dangerous nuisance. Some of the speeds that these vehicles are achieving are extremely high rates of speed. And there's already been several accidents in regard to the speed on that stretch of roadway, including where Mrs. Mello and I live. There was an accident there before she moved into the neighborhood, and I'm surprised people even survived. And
Usually it's at New Boston Road. We've had a couple of turnovers, from what I understand.
It's been
Yeah.
real bad for many years, and I've been in my house for 43 years, so I've been there for a very long time, and it's gotten progressively worse over the last several years. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Like I said, we're trying to think outside the box with those solar-powered speed signs.
I think those would be great.
Got the officers up there targeting enforcement on Northeastern Avenue, Plymouth Avenue. So all we can do is just, for now, until those speed signs come up, hopefully that will assist us a little more.
I know in Vermont, when I went to Vermont, those speed signs with how many miles they were going, you pay attention. You know, it kind of makes you slow down, so I think that would be a big help.
All right, next is request from City Council Michelle Dion. I'll read the letter. I've been contacted by residents of Atlantic Boulevard requesting no parking signs on the west side of the street from dusk to 7 a.m. Many neighbors have witnessed cars being parked for hours on the water side, illegal activities in the vehicle, littering, playing loud music, and being disrespectful to the neighborhood. Please consider this request at your next meeting of the Traffic Commission. Thank you in advance for your consideration, and I await your reply.
So, as you hear, that again was sparked by a resident sending a correspondence to the city council. My letter, the purpose of the letter was twofold. One, depending what would happen moving forward, I realize there's a time issue. If you were to go forward with signs, there's a time issue involved in how long it takes. The other side of the coin is so that all neighbors can weigh in, so that all neighbors have a voice. This has been an ongoing issue. Even with the no parking signs, they still have quality of life issues. There's still illicit things happening down there. I think more importantly is somehow finding a way to address how to stop the negative activities that are going on down there. I mean, obviously, the department can't patrol 24 hours a day. I've spoken to neighbors who are on both sides of this issue. They both feel that the police department has done an excellent job this year and as well as they can in deterring it. They also have issues with people using the end of Atlantic Boulevard as a boat ramp, which it's not. Parking trailers at the emergency exit for the treatment plant, which shouldn't be happening. So they have a number of issues, and I think each issue needs to be addressed to improve their quality of life. In terms of, again, I wrote a resolution. It's going to go to Public Works and Transportation for further discussion on this. Neighbors will be notified so they can attend that meeting as well. So basically, it's just trying to find some resolve for the issues that are ongoing down there. And again, we have people here that want to speak on the issue, so with that, I'll step aside.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for Atlantic Boulevard?
My name is Robert Belcastro. I reside at 20 Duke Street, the corner of Duke and Atlantic Boulevard. I'm here in opposition to the changing of any of this no parking signs. The neighbors there, we want to be heard on this issue, so I'm here just to witness the forum in which this topic is being discussed. I'm open to suggestions on both sides. I know that I'm not alone in my feelings in this. Our quality of life on Atlantic Boulevard has definitely been compromised. There's a lot of things going on down there that none of us want to see. Drug abuse, sexual activity in automobiles. When I mow my grass, when I have to go pick up used condoms off my lawn, I think that that's inappropriate, okay? Loud music, loud mufflers, excessive traffic, like on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon, going down to the gate at the very south end of Atlantic Boulevard where they usually go in and out of the water treatment plant. Certainly boat trailers being parked there on the corner is hampering anybody being able to turn around there. All the streets there, Bryan Avenue, Duke Street, and I'm not really sure what the name of the last street is there, even though I've been living there for the best part of 10 years. Those are all dead ends off of dead end streets. There's no outlet. There's no place for anybody to turn around except people's driveways. The drug abuse down there has been, on the corner of Atlantic Boulevard and the bottom side of Mount Hope Street. Another friend of ours resides there on that corner and constantly picking up used needles on his grass. The trash has been atrocious. I mean, at times it's okay, but it's not consistent like that. It's not, you'll get 2 or 3 good days and you'll have 5 or 6 bad. It's not always terrible. We do witnesses, some families come down there with young children. They want to go look at the water, it's a nice sunset. We understand all of these things. Unfortunately, though, they seem to be the minority. The majority of the time, we're dealing with people that really are not there to respect the neighborhood or to offer any of the residents of the neighborhood any respect at all. As a matter of fact, you know, when you get tormented by an 18-year-old Philadelphia lawyer because he thinks he understands the law and he's in clear violation of the city's noise ordinance, that's not something that we really want to deal with. So I don't know where we find all the answers to all of these questions and problems, but I am here to bear witness to the proceeding and to try to move forward so we can find some resolve.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from Atlantic Boulevard?
Yeah, there's, I gave a letter from the woman who lives across the street from me on Atlantic Boulevard, and I live on the house that survived the 38 hurricane. It's the only house there that's on the west side. Those signs were put up. I don't remember ever there being a meeting or ever being a notification that those signs were going to be put up. Now, I used to have a woman come clean my house. After COVID, I stopped having her. If she came back, every time she came to park in front of my house, it would cost her $25. Because they're giving out tickets all the time. And I told Pat Casey I didn't want the signs in front of my house. The signs haven't changed that were there, and all of a sudden now, they're giving tickets there, where there isn't a sign right there in front of the house. And those signs that are up there don't say no parking on this side of the street. And the ones at the end say don't park between signs, but those are down that way, those signs that say that. I always parked in front of my house before, and that because I didn't want to be opening the gates, closing the gates, open the gates all the time if I was going to go back out. And now, you know, I put my black flashes on when I open the gates because I'm afraid, oh, yeah, they're going to come and they're going to give me a ticket. We've gotten 2 already. We're at a place where I can't have visitors now. Is that what you're telling me? You can't have visitors? You know, when I first bought that house, there was no driveway. We put it in because I wanted to put a little dog kennel for my dogs. And I was doing the cement at the time, so we put a driveway in. But that's what you're telling me? My brother can't come visit me? Like, you know, this is the last place I want to be. I do have a letter I wrote down. Because today is my birthday, and I was going to go to Foxwoods, but here I am, because I really think it's very important that,
That's right.
you know what, when I bought this house, I lived on Whittier Street my whole life. Moved to just a year maybe, at Prospect Street, we bought a house there. Saw this house because I went down to watch the sunset. We have benches down there. This is not a gated community. If people want to go down and enjoy during the day, I can't understand why you can't park on that side and just, some of them can't get out of the car, they're older people, they sit there and they just watch the sunset. Now if they're there, oh no, you can't park there, you can't be on that side of the street, that's ridiculous. I just find it, you know, anyway, if people want to live in a gated community, I guess, maybe we should just put a gate at the end and then let people in that we want to let in and don't let other people in we don't. Yes, there are bad things, but there are bad things all over the neighborhood. Yesterday, someone say to me, they live on Montauk Avenue. Well, my father, what's this going on down there with this pocket thing? So he said, my father looked out the window, there was somebody there shooting up and doing, you know, and he said, well, they're going to put no pocket in front of his house too? You know, I just don't see it. I walked the rail trail. I saved a guy the other day because I called the police, and thank God they came quickly because he had a needle and he passed out and then went boom. I said, oh my God, he looks like he's dead. I had my dogs, I was walking the dogs, and I called. They were very nice. They were very nice. They came, they gave him an offhand. Thank goodness, because the people in wheelchairs said, I think he's dead. He's great. It happens everywhere. So you can't say in the city, every taxpayer can't go down and enjoy the water. I don't understand it. I just don't. Yes, there are things, believe me. I walked down the dirt road with my dogs. There was a guy being serviced by, I came out of his car, he was being serviced by a prostitute on the dirt road. Daylight. Was sad. Because some little kid could have been going down there. It really was sad. But you can't be there every time, all the time either. I'll tell you, the guy in the morning, the day guy is there 3 or 4 times during the day. I don't ever see the night guy. But I can't say they don't, because you know what? I'm in my house, basically in the house, so I don't see, you know, everything that goes by the front. I see the water more than the street. But
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for Atlantic Boulevard?
no.
Hi, my name's Donna Barry. I grew up down Sandy Beach. I actually live on Assonet Street, one of the dead ends, the one just north of Mount Hope. I'm kind of in the middle. I think parking should be limited. I think saying that it should just be at night is probably not enough. but I'm leaning a little more toward the gated community, or at least enforcing.
Well, I didn't mean that, that was
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah, no, I know, but what I'm saying
Because
is.
we don't pay, I know, but we don't pay extra taxes to have a gated community. I'm sorry,
Right,
that's what you want, go live in.
but we also pay enough that we shouldn't be harassed. I'm afraid to walk my dogs because we've nearly stepped on those used condoms and those used syringes and used baby diapers. And one day, a young man, college age, got out of his car, unzipped his pants, and started urinating into a drain, facing a police officer's house, Mike Barrowby. My nephew, Mike Barry, lives on Atlantic Boulevard, and I believe he and his wife talked to Michelle. They got a ticket parked in front of their own house on the east side. They called and they were told, well, there is a no parking sign. They live between Assonet Street and Moody Street. There is a no parking sign, and it threatens to tow people. That's between Moody and Tyndall. I never go down there. I happen to go, I looked at it today because I decided to walk my dog and look around. That's how I found out about the meeting today, because I ran into Janice. But that's nowhere, why can people between Assonet and Mount Hope, they have to park on the street because they've got no place to park. Luckily, my nephew bought a big enough lot for my mother that he has a choice. But the people in these little tiny lots, what happens on Super Bowl night where we have parties?
No company.
It's going to be after dark, it's going to be multiple parties, multiple vehicles. So saying dusk to dawn, that's better than no parking at all, but it's not really a solution. And I think a number of people have pointed out what this really is. We called and complained about the traffic and the people and the parking. It's a proxy for quality of life. I have found kids with coolers of beer bottles, you can hear them clanging, going down the water to drink. I have found the syringes. I know there are drug deals being made. You can kind of tell by how people come and go. Baby diapers, the condoms, what have you. I also called the police one day, and this was probably, well, I called in 2013 for kids. It turned out they were building a bong, B-O-N-G, and I had called because I thought they were building a bomb, B-O-M-B. It turns out, and I didn't figure this out for a couple of months, it was the Friday before the Boston Marathon bombing. And I kept telling the 911 operator, I've worked in universities, I've traveled all over the Western Hemisphere. I have never seen people of this ethnicity before. I sound prejudiced. But what I was saying is these were kids with an unusual look. I couldn't say they were black, they were white, they were Hispanic, they were Turkish, they were from New Zealand. I just couldn't tell. When I called the city to say, you know what, I think those are the kids that came from UMass that were associated with that kid associated with the bombing. Oh, well, there was never a report filed. They were just a bunch of kids hanging out down here. Who knows? But the key is that my property abuts 5 other properties. There's one that's a retiree. The other 4 have shift workers. There's a nurse's aide, 2 police officers, and a truck driver. My husband works from home. Part of the problem with shift work is, of course, the noise during the day is a problem. Another problem with, okay, these spouses are gone at night, there are people home alone. We can't really complain because we get threatened by these people who come at all hours of the day and night. And so asking for there to be no parking is really asking to get a grip on what's going on down there. Because another thing that goes on is somebody who says, oh, well, my aunt, my grandmother, my so-and-so is so-and-so, and so I'm going to ride this motorcycle even though I'm 12 years old and I don't have a helmet.
So there's a lot of that.
And they run up and down the boulevard at 40 or 50 miles an hour. Lots of them don't have helmets on. Lots of them are not old enough. Lots of them, if they're not going to kill themselves, they're going to run somebody over. And so there's just a whole lot of stuff there. So having no parking 24 hours a day isn't feasible. It just isn't practical. I agree with this gentleman. There's huge quality of life issues. On the other hand, Janice has had people ticketed. My nephew, my family has been ticketed. This started 4 or 5 years ago with ticketing on the dead end for parking the wrong way on a dead end. I'm like, okay, yeah, my bad. Another time I came home from Florida, I'm a snowbird. I wasn't home for 12 hours. So my sticker was out of compliance or something was out because I didn't have a chance to go get my car inspected and my exhaust let go. I wasn't home for 12 hours and I got a ticket. I got it inspected, I got that corrected, everything was fine. But what I'm saying is that there's a big uptick in enforcement, and often enforcement with no warning and no neighborhood input.
Because it was all right to park in front of the house when the signs were exactly where they are now.
Yeah.
And no one ever got a ticket. And now if you park in front of my house, which I told people they could park there because it was okay. Now you get a ticket. But I don't know why, because they didn't change anything. I don't understand. And it didn't say, and it still doesn't say no parking on the west side.
When did those signs go up?
Yeah, I'd like to know that.
Okay, so Atlantic Boulevard has been an issue for over 8 years. It started down there, I mean, I started getting calls about 8 years ago with activities that the residents were not happy with. We were getting calls. At first, the signs just went where the stairs are to go down to the beach because that's where people were parking.
And that
Throughout
makes
the year-
sense, so that cars can turn. If you had an ambulance, they could turn. That makes good sense. They should still be there.
And this is all on the west side, which is the side of the water.
Side of the water, yeah.
As years went by, it got worse and worse. We're getting more and more complaints. So there was already no parking on the west side. We just added more signs. The beginning of this year, the calls even went to the chief. The chief went down there, took a look because the calls were tremendous calls regarding activity. Now, when there was no signs up, officers were going at nighttime. They were telling people to leave, but they were not tagging because there was nothing up. And that was one of the things that we changed. This is going back 5 or 6 years, where we added more signs and more signs so people wouldn't park there. To me, we go down there and tag if we get calls. If we do not
No,
get,
they tag
I'm
calls.
talking about
I'm
Atlantic
sorry.
Boulevard.
Okay.
I'm talking
I live
about,
on Lake Boulevard.
all the other
No
side
call.
streets, that's part of the sector. But for Atlantic Boulevard, they'll call dispatch during the day. Now, after 4 o'clock, it's probably gonna be the police department because the parking control officers only work till 4. But if dispatch calls and says that somebody's calling from Atlantic Boulevard, there's an activity going there, the car shouldn't be there, they'll get down there, they'll tag. But they're only tagging the cars that are on the west side. So.
And unfortunately, I have the only house that's on the west side, so no one can ever come visit me because
Well,
there's no place for
that's
them to
not-
go.
Unless somebody's gonna call
Because
that
it
you
was
have a
okay
party
to park in
going.
front- oh, yeah.
I mean, no one's gonna call,
She
no one's gonna
stopped
tell.
to go in the house, this was during the day, to go in the house to get, to eat before she went back to get bread because she feeds the ducks. And they told, when she came out, she goes, oh, I have a ticket on my car, when did that change? I said, as far as I know, it didn't change. But,
Right, but the signs are all on the west side, so
So the
there's.
but
signs
those
have been up
signs,
for 5
not
years?
in front of the way my house is
yeah.
though, they're on both ends of my property, but they're not
Right.
there.
It's this, we're not gonna have a discussion back and forth.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
So when the chief went down there, the suggestion became with other residents, the dusk till dawn. Because the issues were more at nighttime. During the day, people do like to go down there, fishing and all that stuff, and they didn't want those cars to be tagged. Well, if there's a car with nobody inside, we have no idea if it's someone that's fishing or someone just left it there. So I need some guidance of, I can take down those signs tomorrow. I can take them all down tomorrow. But just remember, if there's activity down there, we can't do anything about it because there's no signs telling that they can't be down there. Now, if a police officer goes down there and catches that activity, then that's other violations and all that. But if the residents are, because there are a lot of residents on Atlantic Boulevard, if they call and say, listen, that car is there, it shouldn't be there, once the signs are gone, we can't go tagging.
If I may. And that's why the thought of the dusk to dawn signs was a little troubling to me. I'm not opposed to trying to appease people's enjoyment of the area, okay? But if you limit the no parking, then you take away the police department's ability to do what we're asking them to do. So the dusk to dawn thing is a moving target. It's not always this time to that time. Summertime, it goes all the way almost to 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's still light out. So I
Well, there would
have.
be times, it wouldn't say dusk till dawn, because you're right.
Sunrise
What-
to sunset.
Right, so there was a lot of questions as to, you know, in the summertime, 8:30, 9 o'clock is still light out.
Right.
Whereas in the wintertime, 8:30, it's pitch dark out. So if that's the signs that the residents want, and again, it should be up to the residents what they want, and then those can be changed or those can be taken out. So-
Honestly, I think this has to be tabled, because I'll play devil's advocate here. Atlantic Boulevard is a public street.
Yes, it is. It's an
Yes.
accepted street.
If young kids do those activities and drugs and everything on North Main Street, we're not gonna put up no parking signs to stop those activities.
That's,
So,
Yes, because everybody
That's-
pays same taxes, everybody should be treated the same.
Exactly.
Thank you,
That-
sir.
all
Thank
right,
you.
that's just a third of the opinion here, though.
I know.
But again, boy, I've got a lot of homework to do before the next meeting. I'd like to look at this because, again, it's a public street. Well, I can't see how we can time the public and say you can't park here after a certain time because somebody's got a Super Bowl party or a birthday party. Just
sorry.
because there are troublemakers on that street.
Yes, sir. Having said that, and understanding what you're saying, this is true. But Atlantic Boulevard has never been deemed a public park. If I.
Street.
No,
It's
we
a
were
public way.
talking, we said
Yeah.
public street.
I
It's a
know,
public
The city plows it.
No, it's not
Sergeant,
public.
I heard what you said, sir, and I agree with you, it is a public street, yes, it's a thoroughfare in the city, but it's never been deemed a public park. And I think that some people want to treat it that way, and that's, I think, a bigger side of the problem.
Come up, do you want me to take them down, and then once you do the study, we'll decide what we're gonna put up? I don't, it's very easy to take it down. I'll leave a couple of poles up.
See, that never came before me either, so this is before I was here.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I mean, we can remove them, and then once the
Well,
study.
it's the perfect time of year to remove them, actually, right? I don't think it's
Snow's
gonna get
coming.
inundated with people.
Okay, I'll take down the signs.
And we can call for,
Well, if they're doing illegal activity, you can.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course,
of
of
course,
You would always do that, even
absolutely.
before the signs are up.
That's a
And
whole different
just to
issue.
pitch this, because I am a snowbird and I may not make all these meetings until this is completely resolved. Is there a third solution, which is some sort of resident ID, a sticker, a placard, something, so that she can have guests and people.
And I'm not really asking for that.
Well, we're
I'm
gonna
just
take down
asking
the
if public
signs, so
should be-
they
Well,
won't,
that's
they're
not
not
what
gonna
I'm
go be
saying
ticketing
is-
down there.
Yeah,
Right,
and
they won't be
hopefully, we're not gonna get threatened with assault, until somebody can send somebody. I mean, I think finally we had a motorcycle go down at the bottom of Atlantic Boulevard in Assonet Street. It was since Father's Day, because that's when I came back this year. And the guy was threatening my husband and me while we were trying to help him pick up his motorcycle, and don't call the cops because I don't have a license. And it's like, oh, well, you just invited me to call 911. And
Right.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you for your input.
Thank you.
I'll do my homework.
thank you for considering this. The bottom line is, please don't ticket the residents.
And maybe, we have an association, but we don't meet. So maybe if you had an association meeting, then you would know really what the neighbors feel, I mean, not just me or just him, but what everyone,
If we do any drastic changes down there, we're gonna have to invite the neighbors anyway.
Great, because we don't have meetings. The last meeting was had when the Balliol School was when they wanted to make it a school or houses.
Okay.
So, and she was forced into that one, so I'm just letting you know.
All right,
So
thank
one
you.
more question while they're all here. Again, the resolution was going to Public Works and Transportation. Should we hold off on our meeting until you have a subsequent meeting?
I think so, because if
Okay.
we're gonna have that meeting, we're just gonna say, okay, we're taking down the signs, Sergeant Joel and the police
Yep.
department are gonna look. So to me, you hold off on it until we come up with something and invite the neighbors and all that.
Okay, great.
Thank you, you have,
All right,
thank you
thank you.
very much.
Have a good
Can we
one.
do something to the guy one?
We just want to, all right, last thing on the agenda.
I just want to move that
Move the no
sign.
parking here to corner on Eastern Avenue and Bedard Street on the west side for a distance of 60 feet northerly. There's been some complaints for poor visibility. Is this the gentleman that was here last meeting?
No, this is the first time that's come into the meeting.
Because we had a gentleman talking about visibility crossing Bedard and Eastern Avenue.
Yeah, but he was complaining about the new houses that are
Yeah,
gonna go up there.
But this is similar
This is
to it.
part of it, yes.
So they want to move the no parking here to corner,
I measured it, it's
60
20
feet
feet,
north.
right,
So
it's
they want
20,
to add 40? Is
yes.
that going to take parking away from residents there?
Well, you can park on both sides of Eastern Avenue. So,
Eastern Avenue's pretty tough.
and the thing is a truck that parks there every day, because I go by there every day, and he's legal, but when you come out of Bedard, you've got that big truck, so you gotta come out, because the hill coming down, it's hard to see.
How long is a truck like that?
How big is a truck?
Yeah.
It's a regular,
How long is it allowed to be on the streetlights?
Oh, no,
especially
I
if
mean,
it's
it could
visibility?
be, well, this is at 7 o'clock in the morning, so he could be, probably hasn't gone to work
I
yet. If you
see.
go during the day, it's not
I
there,
see.
you know what I mean, so.
So you want to add 40 feet of no parking?
That's the best way to make it a visit. I mean, I can go 50 if you guys want. I mean, it's up to you guys. Anything over 30, I have to,
I'd like to have seen the,
Yeah.
I don't want to show, I'd like to have seen what changes, like if 4 people can't park there now, that's a big,
if we go 30 feet, no, you can't. They'll take probably two spaces, because there's 20 feet of space.
at Bedard and Eastern Avenue.
It would
though.
go on Eastern
I
Avenue.
don't think too many cars park there.
There's a few cars that park in front of, because it's the church's house.
Yeah,
So
Which is for sale, I
there's
think.
1, 2, 3, there's 4.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
gonna-
that was his concern, so.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you want to table it, it's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I can move it 30 feet
Can we
without,
table it so I can look at
without
that?
consulting
That'd
you
be
guys, but 30 feet's going to do absolutely nothing. My guys
Don't
told me
waste your
it's
time.
not. Well, that's why I didn't move
Let's,
30
all right,
feet.
I make a motion that we table that request
And I'll
till next
second it.
meeting, and I have to look at that intersection too.
Okay.
All right, I make a motion to table it, Helen seconded, anyone opposed to tabling it? Can you take roll call, please?
Helen,
Yes.
Natalie,
yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes.
Thank you, then. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. Anyone second it? Anyone opposed? Roll call, please.
Natalie,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
and Sergeant Dolan.
Yes, meeting is adjourned.